Hello, YouTube and X. It's your main man, BTM here, bringing you back to the BTM Crypto News Network. So happy Friday. We made it. Thanks for joining. And we're talking about the Zebec price. Do you think Zebec can hit $1 by the end of the year? So I got several price predictions we'll go through, but as we're waiting for the Zebecians and the Zebec army to show up, we're just going to go through some regular information. So let's start the spotlight and see what we can see. Don't get burned in the spotlight. So this is what up, Tony T? What up is Eureka? If it hits 50 cent, I'm set for life, my man. What up, Tony? Tony T, what's going on, fam? Welcome, Zebecians. And we'll get to the numbers in a minute when people start showing up. I keep changing the time, but I pushed the time up today so we can get into it. Maybe it runs longer as people show up and start commenting. So we'll give them some time there. So currently, the market is undergoing a correction, and Zebec is holding strong, right? A lot of people have been flooding Zebec, talking that mess, talking that crap, pushing that booty chatter, but Zebec has held strong, right? Zebec has been on the whole time, and Zebec has not dipped back below that 2003 or the 200 or 0.0028 or 0.0036. So Zebec has been showing strength. To think that this coin with no utility are trading over $1 gives me so much bullishness over Zebec with so many utilities. And you're right, because I did see a lot of meme coins. Freaking fart coin is almost at $1. Let me see. Where are we at? Yeah, fart coin is over $1. There is nothing um utility positive or even crypto based about fart coin, right? I don't even know who is buying up fart coin. But let's look through the numbers real quick. So ZBIC is down 8% today to the point down 0.4 on the hour, up 18.1 on the week, up 1.5 for the month, up 227 for the year. Currently, 31.6 million 24-hour trading volume. Market cap 334.9, down 5 places to 172. I want to show you something. Let me see. Where is this? So for some reason, coin ranking went up DR. Went up. Welcome, Zebecians. But yeah, for some reason, coin ranking has Zebec's market cap at 160.4 million at the 0039. And I've been watching this, and I don't know what is up with coin ranking. So for US based coins, Zebec is number 68 at 160.4 million. And they don't even have it listed under RWAs. And they have it listed on Solana and altcoins. So Solana has it as the 44th ranked Solana token, which is weird because it should be the market cap. Current market cap, of course, live coin watch doesn't even have the market cap. Market cap is 347. So if we go back to here, 347, we should be here, right? 29. But they have us all the way down here at 160.8 million market cap. And I don't know why the coin ranking market cap is wrong and so low. right? I don't understand what's going on with coin ranking. Maybe we need to start messaging these guys. They got us under freaking AIL 16 and GigaChat, right? We should be at least under or above Peanut the Squirrel, for crying out loud, or Grass, or Cats in a Dog World. We should be right here, right under Popcat, somewhere between Popcat and uh Useless, right? So I don't know what's going on with these guys and why they keep getting that ranking wrong, but whatever. So be it. So Live Coin Watch is saying Zebec is up, 1.3 on the hour, down 7.3 on the day, up 18.4 for the week, up 3.5 on the month, 296.7 for 90 days. For the year, 247.5. And looking at the holders currently, we are 75,324. So that means in the week, or in the week, we're up 1,428. Last 2 weeks, we're up 1,647. Last 4 hours, we're up 27. Last 12 hours, we are up 89. For the day, we're up 178. The last 3 days, we're up 505. And I also found this on the solo scan. Solo scan says it's 76,320. I'm gonna add this to my favorites actually. 76,324. This guy says 76,324. This guy says 76,328. So let me know what you guys think. And also, if you have any opinion about coin ranking. So let's see here. What is this? This is one of the price predictions. We'll come back to that in a second. So this is Solo Tracker. Let me see. Is there anything cool here on Solo Tracker? Not, we'll close this guy out as well. Even they have the market cap at 388.3. That's weird. I guess we'll close this out. And this is also a price prediction. So currently, 15-minute chart shows couple red candles. RSI is coming up 53.8. RSI base moving average is 44.8. Got a couple of green candles on the 15-minute. A couple on the 5-minute. RSI is coming up on the 5-minute as well. RSI base moving average is 46.46. It's weird. RSI is 64.2. A couple red candles on the 5-minute. 45-minute shows one red candle. RSI is also coming up on the 45-minute. RSI base moving average is 46.14. Volume is down. Had a MACD cross and started to lose volume. Looks like there might be another MAC cross coming on the 1 hour chart. Got a red candle. We're still losing volume. RSI is flat at 48.2. RSI base moving average is 48.28. And let's check the 4 hour chart. On the 4 hour chart, we got a couple of green candles. RSI is flat. And we're losing volume on the 4 hour as well. Now we'll hit that 0028, maybe 0031. But as a whole, I think we are doing pretty good. So let me know what you guys think about that as well. Close out some of these browsers. I don't know what's going on with the uh, web today. What up, Clean Rico? What's going on, player? So yeah, guess we'll go to Twitter while we're waiting, and then we'll look at the numbers in a second. So currently for Twitter and X, we've seen this video. Pause this. Who's this handsome guy? Um, current. This is Crypto Queen. Shout out to Crypto Queen. I used that image in my thumbnail. But big shout out to all the hard work you guys are putting in trying to get the word out on X. ZBCN is having an XRP moment. Silver days. I've been waiting on you, bro. Where you been? Where you been? Where you been? Thanks for joining. And thanks for the Zebecians. A couple more people show up. We'll start looking at the numbers. So Crypto Queen says now to September accumulation phase. Smart money loading price at the 008 to 3 cents between now and September. October, November, U.S. compliance confirmed. Tier 1 listing land price to 3 cents to 5 cents. November to December, narrative explodes. Real-time payroll adoption. RLUSD XRP rails 5 cents to 10 cents. December to February, institutional whispers, additional listings priced 20 cent to 40 cent. February to May, full denomination, global listing, mass FOMO, price 80 cents to 150. But I suspect it's a pretty good timeline, but we might rush that timeline a bit. XRP Army, smash the like, subscribe. Zebec. Thank you, Silver Days. So this is in what is one area Zebec and ZBCN are working on bringing on chain. The total U.S. pension fund industry size is estimated to be around 43.4 trillion as of May 31st, 2025. Current global cryptocurrency market capitalization is approximately 4 trillion as of August 18, 2025. If just 10% of the entire US pension funds were invested in a crypto, it would amount to 4.3 trillion. In such scenario, the total market capitalization of crypto would hypothetically increase to 8.3 trillion. 4 trillion current market cap, 3.4 from pensions fund investment. And this is Dr. Hasenbeck, which is actually over Uphold. And you already know how Uphold is the bank for Zebec or ZBCN. That's right up our alley. So this is XRP and Zebec partnerships number 4. So Bank of America is partnered with Zebec and ZBCN. Know who else is partnered with Bank of America? Ripple XRP right in front of your eyes. Getting bullish yet. So this is partners with Zebec, Base, Ethereum, JP Morgan, Bank of America, Visa, MasterCard, and Kudu Pay, whatever this is. That's nice to know. Just wait until you see posts saying Zebec needs to hold the 99 cents in order to reach 150. Know what you hold. Please and thank you. All right, please and thank you. This is ADP talking with Zebec. Our latest Future of Money episode features Tom, payroll veteran, former ADP top salesman who helped to scale it to billions, and long-term advisor Zebec PGP. After building and selling his own company, Tom shares insights on legacy payroll versus startup. So I guess we can listen to this for a couple minutes, then we'll get to some numbers.
Welcome to another episode of Zebec's Feature Money interview series. Today we have a powerhouse guest on the show, Tom Lutz, a payroll veteran who was ADP's top performing salesperson during his time there, helping ADP scale to billions of dollars. He then went on to build and sell his own payroll company, giving him a unique perspective on both legacy systems and startup innovations in the payroll space. Tom, great to have you on.
Laura, thanks for having me. I appreciate you having me on board.
Absolutely. So I think the audience would love to hear a little bit more about your background at ADP and what you've done so far.
Sure, happy to share a little bit. I go back to 1991. I started with ADP in New York City as a young sales professional, knocking on doors in the streets of Manhattan, trying to sell payroll. And I had a great career. I loved my career at ADP. I spent 16 years helping others more than just myself. So I moved into a leadership role, and one of my strengths was building sales organizations, building teams, putting strategic approaches in place, and coaching others to become the best salesperson they possibly can and working with their clients on a day to day basis. So, for the last 30 years, I've been in this industry, and I'm happy to spend some time with you and the team today.
Awesome. It's always great to have an industry leader or veteran on. So let's maybe move a little bit past the ADP part of your career. Take us back to the early days of when you spun off and started up your own payroll company. What sort of inspired you to start your own payroll company? And what problem were you trying to solve at the time? What was the thesis of the company?
Back then, we're going back to 07, 08. There's a lot of change going on in the industry. It was a tough financial time that we went through as not just an organization. Here in America, we went through some real financial stress back then. But I noticed a lot of change going on in the industry. It was starting to become commoditized. Some of these large payroll companies out there, and I had this vision that I knew we could build up our own empire if we were just focusing on the client and white glove service. So I built a company called Summit Payroll Services around this proactive approach, reaching out to clients, making sure they're well trained and given, high level communication and that true white glove service that you would expect out of service organization. We weren't just cutting checks anymore.
So it sounds like you got in at a pretty unstable time. I assume that there were some hard lessons you had to learn about scaling the business during that time. What were some of those lessons, and what did you find, especially in an industry as complex and regular as payroll, were some of those pain points?
One of the hardest thing that hit us home very quickly was how complex it is to file and deposit payroll taxes and move money properly. There's quite a bit of change that goes on when it comes to federal, state, and local payroll taxes. Staying on top of that change, the regulations were constantly moving. So that bouncing ball was tough, and our clients trusted us to keep them compliant. So that compliance focus for us was something we discussed on a day-to-day basis, and we hired some extra help just to make sure they were compliant. But that was probably one of the hardest lessons I learned when we built this organization.
That's a good point. It's interesting you mentioned that. At Zebec, we realized that compliance was becoming the area of focus for many payroll companies as they struggle to scale, especially since you're handling sensitive financial data and you have to adhere to standards like KYC and KYB. So, for those exact reasons, that's actually why we acquired a company called GateKnox in June. So, GateKnox brings deep expertise in automated identity verification, AML screening, and compliance orchestration. So, what this did was it brought to Zebec, and what it allowed us to do was instantly verify both employers and employees, including contractors, automate jurisdiction specific onboarding workflows, and then also, like you mentioned, the ever changing regulatory environment can be hard to navigate. So, this acquisition of GateKnox allows us to comply with regulations across multiple geographies, especially since we've expanded into Europe and the UK. So I completely agree with your point that the ever changing regulatory landscape of payroll, especially during the time that you were starting your payroll company, was definitely hard to navigate. And we're starting to see that become one of the primary focuses of payroll companies nowadays.
Great acquisition for your organization. Well
Yeah,
done.
absolutely. And we're excited to see where that'll take us to the next few months. We've only had them for about a month, so still the beginning stages. So, Tom, it sounds like you had your payroll company for a while. What ultimately led to your decision to sell the company, and what factors went into choosing the right acquire or exit strategy?
Well, great question. The exit strategy was part of our original business
organized on chain will still be secure when quantum computers hit. And so
Wow, I was actually muted that whole time. But I keep hearing that Zebec lights the way. Words from the Algo Foundation, it can companies like Zebec that makes magic happen for the users. We are just the infrastructure layer. This is also similar to what Uphold was going at or getting at. XRP forwards the path, Zebec lights the way. And I keep hearing that Zebec lights the way. Think there's a message there? Anybody, everybody, somebody? Let me know what you think in the chat. Let's play this real quick and we'll start looking
organized
at
on
the
chain will still be
price
secure
predictions.
when quantum computers hit. And so that's what we have today. The chain is kind of quantum secure today from a ledger perspective. Um, but of course, none of this really matters if you don't have the right partnerships at the same time, because it's companies like Zebec that make the magic happen for users, right? We are just the kind of infrastructure layer below it. We make sure everything kind of runs properly and there's no downtime and it's secure and it's safe. But ultimately, what drives the usage is the companies like Zebec who basically build services on top of it that make the blockchain sing.
Yeah, that's really the magic of this partnership is you're bringing really the top tier infrastructure layer in the market of Algorand with the real world users as back coming together.
It sounds great. I love the word magic.
Organized on chain will still be secure when quantum computers hit. And so that's what we have today. The chain is kind of quantum secure today from a ledger perspective. Um, but of course, none of this really matters if you don't have the right partnerships at the same time, because it's companies like Zebec that make the magic happen for users, right? We are just the kind of infrastructure layer below it. We make sure everything kind of runs properly and there's no downtime and it's secure and it's safe. But ultimately, what drives the usage is the companies like Zebec who basically build services on top of it that make the blockchain sing.
Yeah, that's really the magic of this partnership is you're bringing really the top tier infrastructure layer in the market of Algorand with the real world users as back coming together.
It sounds great. I love the word magic.
Organized on chain will
So shout out to the Algo. The ZBCN just crossed 76,300 holders, and we're just getting started. Catalysts dropping left and right. Even bigger ones ahead. This rocket isn't slowing down. Mass adoption's loading. Strap in and hold. Diamond hand, guys. This is also Algorand's big moves on Algorand lately. First ever ex Gov Council has been formed, partnered with Hus Trust to bring more institutional staking to algorithm. Zebec integrated Algorand onto its card and payroll tools. Agent Naya integrated with Algorand to let everyone see algos on the X with a single tweet. Trans Lab acquired DeflexFi. Not even sure what that is. Good afternoon, Al. What's going on? It is February. Is now part of the MasterCard Sandbox as a Service program. Alpha Arcade keeps changing the game with new features. Crossed 180 billion USD lifetime value through its aggregation. Is now live on Planify app. Not sure what that is either, but it looks like Algo is all the way live. 18% of all Casper wallets are active. Okay, we rolled into the Casper there for a second. So currently we're 75,323. See if that number went up any. I think it went down too. That's weird. But let's get to the pricing information actually. So this is Coin Codex. So Codex is saying July minimum price 0028. average 0032, max 004. Potential return on investment 3.2%. August 0031, the minimum average 0032, max price 0033, 15% return on investment. September the 003, average price 0031, max price 003, 16.3% return on investment. October 002, 0029, average price, and 0031. So looks like they're expecting a dip. November 0029, 003, 0031, 20% return on investment. And for December 003, minimum 0031, average, and 0034 for the high, the max, which is extremely low, actually. 0028, 0040, for the average monthly 0032, and 29.4% return on investment for July. August 15%, 0032, 0031, and the 0034. So for my prediction, actually, we'll check this out first. This is chat. So chat saying current price is 0038. 24-hour change is 0.6%. Daily high, the 0043 and the 0038 as the low. Short term, actually, I was just looking at that. Codex has 0040, July 26th, declining to 0031 by July 28th, to 0030 by August 24th, potential 24% dip. CoinLure expects the 0031 and the 0042 ranging to low to mid 003s in incoming weeks. Outlook swap space 0051, 5% ROI, which is moderate. BTCC average 0061, max 0085. Bullish assumption code X0040, cautiously realistic. So I'm thinking they might hit a new all-time high by the end of August. I'm thinking maybe 150 to 260% in the next 2 weeks. So be at the 0.3 to 4. So 3 to 4.5 cents by the end of August, may be the start of September. So let me know what you guys think about that price prediction. You think I'm bullish? Put a bull in the chat. You think it's bearish? Put a bear in the chat. If you like it, put a fire emoji in the chat. Trading beats wallet investors via 3coms expect the 2025 range, the 00387 to the 0029, the 00429 with an average of 0040. 2026 forecast the 0040 and the 0043. They ain't giving us no love, man. CoinLure suggests by 2030 could be at 1.3 cents to 4.9 by 2040. No love again. Mexi's prediction of 5% annual growth by 2050, 1 cent based on user assumptions. Seriously? Analysts consensus possible scenarios. Near term, weeks to months, price likely to be at the 003s with potential downward pressure if the market conditions worsen. End of 2025, Most optimistic targets range between the 005 and the 006, depending on broader market momentum and Zebec's adoption. Long term, 2026 to 2030, upside ranges to 4 cents to 1.4 cents, provided continual ecosystem growth, partnership card payout, adoption, and regulatory headwind. That's also a really low expectations. Why forecasts vary so much? Forecasts divergence due to differing assumptions, technical trends, adoption rates, macro momentum, and on-chain growth. Many models and algorithms are purely historic, not incorporate Zebecs or Zebec upcoming product launches and partnerships, i.e., Payroll, Polygon, Algorand, integrations, and gate knocks. I got a call. Let me take this call real quick. Pop this back on, and I'll be right back.
So, hello everyone. Welcome to another episode. And started up your own payroll company. What sort of inspired you to start your own payroll company, and what problem were you trying to solve at the time? What was the thesis of the company?
Back then, we're going back to 07, 08. There's a lot of change going on in the industry. You know, it was a tough financial time that we went through as not just an organization. Here in America, we went through some real financial stress back then. But, you know, I noticed a lot of change going on in the industry. It started to become commoditized, some of these large payroll companies out there. And I had this vision that I knew we could build up our own empire if we were just focusing on the client and white glove service. So I built a company called Summit Payroll Services around this proactive approach, reaching out to clients, making sure they're well trained and given, you know, high level communication and that true white glove service that you would expect out of service organization. We weren't just cutting checks anymore.
So it sounds like you got in at a pretty unstable time. I assume that there were some hard lessons you had to learn about scaling the business during that time. What were some of those lessons and workflows? And then also, like you mentioned, the ever-changing regulatory environment can be hard to navigate. So
Okay, we'll keep that handy. Waiting for someone to call, getting my car repaired. So in case they call. But back to where were we? Yeah, here. X. This is actually chat and their predictions. So summary today, July 26th. Today is the 25th, actually. 0038. Short term 1 month likely in the 0031 to the 004 range. End of 2025, potential 004 to 006. That's very bearish. By 2030, target at the 006 and the 1 cent under bullish condition. That is crazy. Want to dig deeper, explore on chain, track Zebec liquidity with trading volume. So no, I actually was thinking it might hit 1 cent by the end of August. I know that would be very, very bullish, but I think there is a lot of catalyst to push the momentum up. So we finished those. Look at the bubble. Let's see here. This is, I guess we'll go to CoinMarketCap. CoinMarketCap has a 0039 down 7.9% on the day. Market cap 349.2 down 7% on the day, 8%. 24-hour trading volume is 26.9 down 16.8%. And that is because their market correction has started. So nothing to wig out about. Zebec can resist, grabbed another meal today. While you're waiting for the Zebec price to go back up, be sure to grab Zebec Collection Pack featuring Zebec Man and our old friend, Mr. Shadow. Mr. Shadow, the FUD villain. I wonder what happened to that guy. Latest Future of Money episode from Zebec. And that's what we're just watching, that Tom Lutz payroll veteran. We might go or listen to, might go back to that in a minute, but for some reason the volume is kind of low. I haven't quite figured out how to get the volume back on track here. We see what the volume mixer has. Are we all the way up? Actually, we're not. Turn that up a little bit. Let me see here. Zebec and Outer Space partnering, amazing new for both sides. This collaboration takes decentralization technology to the next level. Octospace is more than just a cloud platform. Furthers when Zebec hits 50 cents. Here we go to later, see what other new information is coming. Keeps going up. I hate myself for missing out, clown. Don't fear, buy more. If it drops to the 36 diff, grab and bunch more while markets is down. So nothing to do with Zebec. Zebec before you start, it's the weekend, everything is down. And that's actually mine. That's weird. So I guess a lot of people are talking about the Future of Money episode. You might have to go back and check that out. Let me see. Let's see what the AI says for today for coin market caps. AI, Zebec's price prediction declined 4.13% in the past 24 hours due to profit taking after a recent rally and broader market weakness, despite bullish ecosystem developments. Profit taking followed at the 16.27-day rally driven by the Octospace partnership news. Technical pullback from the resistance at the 0045, now testing the 0035 support. Market-wide dip as total crypto market fell 2.1% in 24 hours. This is testing the 0035. Looks like we're holding on the 009. Let's go to that 15-minute chart. It's the wrong button. Actually, it's a 15-minute chart. See if we can zoom here. Looks like we are testing that 00392. Looks like we're holding steady on the 009. So this is deep dive. Primary catalyst, the Octospace partnership announced the 24th. Initially drove Zebec to the 0045, but traders locked in gains as the price approached the 0041 and the 0045. Resistance zones that align with a 35% price surge cited in news reports. Crypto news created a natural profit taking. Pressure 24-hour trading volume dropped 8.4 to 28.1 million, signaling a reduced momentum post news. So of course, buy the news, sell the rumor. Let's go. ZBCN reacted to test critical support levels, 20-day EMA at the 0035 held, but bears pushed the price below the 23.6 Fibonacci retracement, 0039. RSI 7-day at 65 suggests natural momentum down from overbought levels during July 21st peak. MACD histogram turned positive at the 30131, but lacks volume confirmation for sustained upside. Market dynamics. Bitcoin's dominance dipped slightly to 60.8, but altcoins underperformed. Altcoin season indexed at 41. Fear and greed held at 66, which is greed, reflecting cautious optimism but limited risk appetite for mid token like Zebec. Conclusion. Zebec dip reflects a healthy correction. Like I said earlier, it's just a correction, guys. Calm down. After rapid gains with technical and partnership still supporting a bullish median term outlook. Key resistance at the 0045 remains a litmus test, and Zebec's real world payment adoption offset micro headwinds. Good question. I guess we looked at that. Looking at the holders, let's refresh this. So we're at what was that? 75,330. Check this guy. 75,003. 75,326. So I guess this one is slightly behind. And I guess we'll go back to this video or this from the ADP guy. Give him a couple minutes again. See if the sound's up.
This acquisition of Gatenox allows us to comply with regulations across multiple geographies, especially since we've expanded into Europe and the UK. So I completely agree with your point that the ever-changing regulatory landscape of payroll, especially during the time that you were starting your payroll company, was definitely hard to navigate. And we're starting to see that become one of the primary focuses of payroll companies nowadays.
Great acquisition for your organization.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're excited to see where that'll take us to the next few months. We've only had them for about a month, so still the beginning stages. So, Tom, it sounds like you had your payroll company for a while. What ultimately led to your decision to sell the company, and what factors went into choosing the right acquire or exit strategy?
Well, great question. The exit strategy was part of our original business plan. I knew this wasn't something I was going to keep forever, but I will tell you, based on the exit strategy, we executed much quicker than we originally planned, about 3 years sooner than our original business plan. But that exit strategy had probably, say, two or three very important bullets. One was whoever acquired Summit Payroll Services, their culture was a critical piece for me. And they need to have the right team in place that focused on each client and servicing that client. The other thing was training, right? I put training and I put communication, sort of bundle that together. That was an important piece also, because there's always constant change going on, compliance going on in the back office. You need to make sure you're communicating and training the clients and make sure they're always up to speed. And the third, which was critical as well, is we needed a 100% conversion rate. I wanted to make sure every one of our clients has now trusted us with their families, because we're actually cutting their payroll checks. I want to make sure every one of our clients was comfortable moving over to the new gentleman that acquired Summit Payroll Services. And I'm glad and happy to say that 100% of them did.
That's great to hear. So it sounds like the factors that led to your decision to sell the company were more qualitative than financially focused or numbers focused.
Absolutely. You have to build trust in this industry. And Summit Payroll Services, we cared about our clients, so we want to make sure they're well taken care of. We weren't one of the larger big box players that have been around for many, many years just processing checks. That's not what we were about. The culture and the sort of the backbone of Summit Payroll Services was always focused on the client.
It sounds like you were trying to give your clients the best service possible and constantly innovating to reach their level or their standards, which again, at Zebec, we completely agree with. That's sort of the focus of our M&A approach as well. We're not looking to just acquire companies. We want to make sure that we're partnering with founders who are deeply embedded in their industries. You want to make sure that there's a focus on continuous innovation and that the clients of those companies we acquire are receiving the highest level of service possible. So that's actually what we do with two of our acquisitions. So you know about our acquisition of PayBridge,
Yes.
with Tony for the past 2 years. And what we've done is been able to roll out products like EWA, pay cards, with a focus on innovation to make sure that those clients can reach and have a level of service that is unmatched compared to some of the legacy players in the industry. It's more of a focus, like you said, on customer service, making sure conversions at the highest level and that they're completely satisfied with the level of service that they're receiving. So moving on then to more about the payroll industry and your views on it, what would you say has changed the most since you were running your company? And then on the flip side, what surprisingly stayed the same?
Oh my goodness. There's been so much change through the payroll industry over the years. I go back almost 35 years now in payroll experience. So when you start to look back, human resources didn't even exist. There was maybe someone in personnel through birthday parties, but you look at the regulations that were starting to put in place into the 90s, that's when things started to shift quite a bit. So there's always constant change when it comes to regulation. I can't say that enough. But when you look at the actual industry as a whole, way back then, it was dominated by the larger payroll providers. There are a few large payroll providers out there. When you look at certain industries, there was in-house software folks that did their own payroll in-house and didn't outsource it to a payroll provider. So back then, payroll wasn't considered sort of mission critical for the business. It was a necessary evil to cut the employees' checks on time and make sure the taxes are paid. So when you look at what it was then and where it is today, you look at money movement and the real-time expectations that an employee has of receiving funds. If I work today, many people want to get paid today. And you know what? They probably want to get paid in different currencies. That shouldn't be just one currency, put it that way. And it's a much more strategic industry today than it was 30 years ago. Back then, it was just cutting checks. Now, HR is the backbone of compliance for an organization, and they have to make sure that the regulations are carefully monitored and taken care of. So there's no issues when it comes to compliance across the organization. So quite a bit of change. And I would think one of the keys in change and where we are today is, I guess, access to funds. I guess back in the day, it was just cutting manual checks. I started before there was direct deposit, and look where people are today and how they want access to their funds when they finish a workday.
I'm actually really glad you brought that part up. I agree that while the tech stack has evolved over the past 50, 60, 70 years, especially with cloud platforms and APIs, I would argue that a lot of the core inefficiencies in payroll still haven't changed. So it's first ADP software that came out in, I want to say it was like maybe even the 60s. I don't think the payroll system has changed much since then. It's still the same payroll cycle or pay cycle and all that. So I completely agree that people do want a more innovative approach. Like today, they want to get their money as soon as it's made. They don't want to wait 2 weeks or a month or whatever the pay cycle is. And that's been one of the biggest pain points we've observed in the industry. And that's sort of one of the biggest problems and issues that we want to tackle with our real-time payments payroll system. So building off of this question, what pain points in payroll do you think are still underserved? Areas that you think today's solutions haven't quite solved yet?
It's funny how we bled right into that question because you're right. You're spot on. Payroll's payroll. It's always been payroll. That's really not going to change much when you look at a core payroll. It's cutting checks on usually a biweekly or sometimes a weekly basis, that all that structure. And it's still, and I hate to use the word old school structure, but it is sort of an old school structure when it comes to the technology that's in place. I think that's, and the pain around that is given because there's lack of flexibility. When you look at certain industries and they need a lot of flexibility and data from their worker and the jobs that they're doing, that those old school systems, they just don't have. They were made to cut a check from gross to net. In addition to that, I would say the way the employee actually receives those funds, it's still pretty much driven off of a paycheck, right? And then they just create a different way to move that money to them. So I think those pain points are still out there today. And as we're looking forward, I think I'm starting to see with the conversations I've had with your organization, you're moving in the right direction on how you want to transform that.
I'm really glad to hear that. So it's rare to see somebody in the traditional payroll industry be receptive to some of these new innovations, at least in blockchain, in payments. So it's refreshing to hear that real-time payments can be an option or is the future to solve these issues like slow settlement times, settlement fees and breaking this traditional 2-week pay cycle or whatever pay cycle it is that these employees are on. So I guess now that we're on the topic of real-time payments and blockchain, there's been a lot of buzz around the news, especially with crypto and payments being hot right now. What's your take on real-time payments and embedded finance and maybe blockchain-based payroll? Do you believe it's just hype or is it genuinely transformative?
It's the future. I believe that that is definitely the future. I like to use the word transformative in that question. It is our future. I think we need to embrace a global outreach with multiple currencies. I think we need to also look at how we pay those people. Look at the different types of people that are working today. They're not all W-2 employees anymore that punch a clock from 9 to 5. They work at the same job for 35 years and get a pension. Those days have changed drastically. So the type of worker, the type of job, and how they receive their funds for working that day or week or month, I think is changing drastically. And as we embrace this global outreach with multiple currencies, I think you're going to see that go down our path versus the old school biweekly paycheck.
I totally hear you. You mentioned multiple currencies a few times on this episode. Is the idea behind what you're saying more so that these employees have more flexibility in the currency they want to receive, or more so from the employer's perspective that they can offer wages in multiple different countries without having to worry about regulation across different regions?
I'm glad you brought that up. I think both, right? As an employee and the employee experience, the employer needs to be aware of that and understand the employee experience and truly want to understand what's best for that employee. And then the employer should be able to execute it. So I think the employer is going to have more flexibility and it's going to lead to the employee having more choice. And that's where we're going to transform down the road.
No, that makes complete sense. And I'd take that even a step further to say, even some of these employees, one of the things they look for a lot, especially in the US, given we have one of the highest immigration rates, is remitting funds or just cross-border payments. And it's especially hard to do that in today's economy if you take away blockchain and crypto, mainly because you have to go to like a Western Union, pay a 10% fee, and then the recipient also has to pay a fee when they go pick up those funds. But what we can do now and today, and that's one of the core ideas of our card product, is to be able to remit funds cross-border at low to no fees, and it's done instantly. So being able to send money from USD to Euro or USD to GBP or whatever currency it is that people are trying to remit back, it's definitely possible and doable. It's instant compared to the outdated versions of what you have like Western Union and MoneyGram and all these other money order methods. So no, I completely agree. I think that it is the future. And logically, I think it's the next step. I don't think it's just a trend. I think it's going to be a full scale adoption in the next 5-10 years, maybe even sooner. Nobody really expected crypto to adopt as fast as it is today. And we're already seeing it hit all-time highs and adoption reaching the highest levels we've ever seen.
Agreed.
So Tom, just to wrap this up, you've shared a lot of insight on your experience in the payroll industry, what you've seen over the past 10, 15, 30 years, and what you've done at ADP in your own payroll company. What advice would you give to a new founder entering the payroll or fintech space today, especially someone trying to build something different and stand out?
Well, if I were going to sit someone down, give advice, or if I were going to do it again, the first thing I would do is sit down and develop my business plan. I would have a long-term business plan with, flexibility, I would say is one of the first things that comes to mind. I'd want this recurring revenue model that's attractive to me in the payroll industry and have a detailed strategic approach on how we're going to grow that volume. That's the first thing. And, when I build my business plan on the flexibility, when I say flexibility, I mean, you think about not just the employer, but the employee and access to their wages. Like I've said earlier, the multi-currency. You also have to think, that end user experience. Right now, it's all mobile and it should be multilingual, right? When you're building that business plan out. The other thing I would make sure is part of that is you want to have high-end security and compliance. It needs to be core to the business that you're building. There's just no room for error when you run a payroll, right? That goes without being said. But you also have to make sure that the data that you're storing remains confidential and secure. You've built trust with your clients. You don't have top-notch security built within your system. That's going to be a problem long-term. And whether or not you build it, you might not have the funds or the expertise to build it. That's okay. Then partner in that area. And you can build, borrow, or buy, right? I would say you partner in that area first, is one of the things I think about. And make sure that each person and each client has secure data and is very compliant with the ever changing laws and regulations that we have. That's real important in this business plan. So I would say that's probably my second bullet. And my third bullet, I would probably tell you to think vertically. I would find like a special niche that you want to be an expert in. You want to drill down in great detail and be the expert within that vertical niche, whether it be shift workers or contractors. There's so many different areas you can choose, but I would do some homework and find where most of the pain might lie. And if you can find out where that pain is, for instance, let's say, in a specific industry, there are people that are working hard, but they have to wait a week or 2 weeks to get paid. And that type of worker needs payment immediately. There might be a nice vertical or niche there that you can build a strong foundation and expand your business very quickly by going into that vertical or that specialty niche that you have there. And remember, payroll's a necessity. It's complex, it's time bound, it's stressful. Think how you can go help people. So you want to make sure when you're looking for this niche, find the people that are losing sleep over payroll and become the expert in that field. I think with those, you bundle that up there, that's a great way to sit down and put your business plan together and go to market.
Tom, thank you for that very insightful answer. It's been great having you on today. I'm sure the audience has loved to learn about your experience at ADP and your own payroll company. And I'm sure they would appreciate your insights and some of your observations of the payroll industry over the past 30 years.
Well, thanks, Parth. I really appreciate you inviting me on, and I look forward to future conversations.
Absolutely. Thank you, Tom.
So shout out to the Zebec team for that future of payroll, which is actually pretty interesting. And this is why I'm sticking to the price prediction of maybe 120 to 270 in the next 2 weeks, because there's still going to be an announcement on the 31st. If you remember, they did mention something's happening on July 31st, which is next Friday, give or take. What is it, next Thursday? Dang it, stupid calendar, man. Next Thursday, actually. So let me know what you think. What do you think that big announcement is coming up? Do you think it's the super app, or do you think there's another major partnership, or maybe a listing coming? What do you guys think? And currently, I think we might get over the 003 and the 004.5, maybe up to actually a penny by the end of August. Somebody said maybe 3 cents by the end of August and the start of September. So let me know if you think that is crazy bullish, or if you think that prediction could be possible. But all the other apps, these predictions are terrible, actually. But let me know what you think. The predictions from what is this? Dang it. Yeah. Coin Code X was extremely low. Extremely. So this is 2026 00325 to 0033 for the max. February 0033 to 00336. March 0034 to 0038. April 005 as the average and 0075 as the max. May 0093 to 1 cent max for May. 009 to 008 for June. July 0087 to 0091. Looks like it's going back down after, what is that, May. 0071 and 0086 for 2026 August. September 0070, 0074. September, August 0058 and 0065 for October 2026, and November 0057 and 0061, and December 2026 0066 and 007, which I'm thinking we'll probably hit the 1 cent mark before that. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. What up, Quarter Crawler? What up, Hard Drive? What up, Cato? Stoked. What up, QBXAI? Thanks for joining. And I think we looked at everything on good old X. See if there's any new information on X before we shut it down. Once Zebec whales are comfortable with staking PY and settle for what's coming from it, you will see the chart shift to higher highs. Mark my words. If you're new in the crypto space, do not forget to take your profits. If you don't, you'll round trip your bags for another 4 years. If you absolutely need the money, take profits out. Do not get greedy. Yes, you can make more. However, you can also lose it all. Interesting facts. The fact that companies have been hitting up Zebec about stablecoin payroll options is insane. ZBCN banks are severely interested in the stablecoin ecosystem. So these are most of this information we've already reviewed. And we looked at this earlier. So market cap 900 million to 5 billion, 00, actually 1 cent to 5 cents, 10 cents to 25 cents, 10 billion market cap to 25 billion. Total holders 200,000 to 500. So we're closer to 60 to 150 currently. So maybe we'll hit that 1 cent. 40 cents to 85 cents, the bull case, market cap 40 billion to 85 billion. Holders needed 750,000 to 1.2 million. Would imply Zebec is a top 10 to 15 asset. $1 is the moonshot. Market cap 100 billion. Holders needed 1.5 million to 3 million. This would reflect ZBCN's going mainstream as payroll layer choice across chains, comparable to Ethereum level narrative. Momentum likely requires full regulation clarity, government, enterprise, and adoption and cross-chain integrations. So we'll ride out with that. Happy Friday, guys. Have a good weekend. It's your main man, BTM. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And super chat, trying to get some ZBCN gear. But as always, let's get back to the money and stay dangerous. It's your main man, BTM, signing out. Have a good weekend. And there you are. I see, I'm looking for you, bro. But have a good weekend. And peace out, Silver Days. Peace in hair grease. And see you when I see you. Don't forget to join. Same bat time, same bat channel. Miner out.